All right, so I've started recording, so you can go ahead now.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Lachlan Campbell. I go by @LachlanJC on the internet. And I am here for the personal website workshop. So I'm a professional web designer and developer. I started coding. I just turned 20, but I started coding back in 6th grade. I stumbled across a website called Codecademy. Back then, it was like 2013, and started learning HTML and CSS, which I'm here to teach you today. And it just really caught my attention, and I've been coding basically every day since. So yeah, so I think that like learning how to, thanks Riley, I think learning how to make websites is just one of the most empowering things for a young person right now. It just, the ability to build something on your own, just like, you know, if you can connect to Zoom, you can build a website. And I had no idea before then that, you know, though it's hard to like become a professional doing it, it is actually like surprisingly easy to get something going. And so today, in the next, 40-ish minutes, we're going to dive into coding with HTML and CSS, assuming no prior experience. So I have prepared. So the way this is going to work is everyone's going to get a website online by the end of this, and so I've prepared a tutorial where you can follow through at your own pace, but you can also watch me, and I'm going to go through it and talk through everything and explain. So you can kind of choose if you want to follow along, or you can do it on your own and not pay attention, and then come back at the end when we're presenting things. So I just shared the link in there. It's intro.lachlanjc.com. So if you want to pull that up, you'll have it. And so we're going to use this website called Replit, which is a free online code editor, so that you don't need to install anything on your computer. You can use it on an iPad, Chromebook, anything you've got. But if you want to if you prefer to learn on your own, you can go for it and just pay attention to that. But otherwise, I'm going to screen share and go through it myself. Looks like I can't screen share right now, though. Oh, because you are sharing audio. So.
Okay, try again.
Great. Okay, amazing. So this is intro.lachlanjc.com. You'll enjoy a collection of Schitt's Creek GIFs throughout. So yes. So part one, setup. We are going to use a code editor, as I mentioned, Replit, right here. And so you're going to want to, I think you can use it without an account, but I would definitely recommend creating an account so that your work is saved and you get a link. So I'm going to sign into this. Oh. Okay, we're doing great. So give you time to sign in as well. Great. And then you can just click the link in site, or you can click create HTML, CSS. I'm going to create REPL. So this will dive you into Replit's code editor with some introductory code already written. Let's take a look at this. So create REPL, and here we are. So the web is made out of 3 components, which are 3 separate programming languages. So the first, and the one we're mostly focusing on today, it's the most important, is HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. So what that means is that the web is critically based around text. The web was actually started like by a bunch of scientists to share research papers. So it is fundamentally structured around text, and everything else has kind of been added in. And so it's markup because you are marking up text with additional meaning. So like you've got a heading on a page, like it's text, but then you're marking it up to be a heading. You know, we now have these like visual interfaces for the stuff, but yeah. And so each thing on a page is a tag. And so a tag is made up typically of 3 parts, which is a starting tag, an opening tag, which declares what kind of element it is. And then second, the content that goes inside it. So like the text that shows up. And then third, a closing tag. So the syntax is we use these angled brackets, which on most keyboards are above like the command or Windows and option keys on the right. And then we use the name of the tag, which we'll talk about more. And then you can put usually anything inside a tag. So we've got a little example right here. And so we're going to add our name, and this is going to preview the web page. So I will type in H1 and then right angle bracket. I'll put in my name right here. See, this is rendering the live web page. Put in our closing tag, and we did it. So if you want to follow along and just kind of practice typing those little angle brackets, you're going to be using them a whole bunch today. So here is a quick little tip, which is that white space, like spaces and new lines, doesn't matter. It doesn't change the way the page looks. We've got different ways of controlling how text flows, but just FYI, putting like a whole bunch of spaces doesn't change anything. So writing tags. The first thing we're going to do is come over here and actually delete everything that Replit gives us, because I want you to try doing it all yourself. And by the way, if you've got questions, like please just share them in the chat, and I will. Yeah, exactly. You got it, Ken. And I can answer those along the way. So the first thing we do is actually, like nothing else. Yes, this is HTML. So you can see in the left, we've got index.html selected. So the first tag we use is actually like nothing else we type, but it just tells your computer that we're writing HTML. So we do this doc type, and if you omit it, stuff kind of breaks. And then, so some tags on the page show up and you see content, and some don't. And so first we're going to use this HTML tag that wraps everything else on the page. So you want to be typing this into your code editor as well. And then we use a head tag like this, where we'll put information about the page, but none of that stuff shows up on the screen. And then we're going to also include a body tag. And this is where we're going to put everything that shows up on the page. Yes, head is metadata, data about data. And so stuff like the title that shows up in your tab bar goes in the head. So we'll get to that later. We did it. So we can click the run button on Replit and see this page, and it's blank because we haven't put anything on the page yet. But we've set up our page structure so we can put stuff on the page, which is all we need. And so next we're going to add some content. So let's put the exact HTML tag that we already wrote. I'm going to put my name because we're going to make a little website about ourselves. So obviously use your name. And so with this tutorial, the idea is that this takes you through the very basics, but then if you do exactly what the tutorial says, by the end of the workshop, like that is failing, because you want to go way farther. And so I'm going to show you how to do the basics, and then you will Google whatever and ask me questions and anything, but end up with your own thing on the page. So I'm going to click run. We did it. Oh my goodness. We got stuff on the page. Like, so this is a link.
10 p.m. one.
What?
Sorry.
Okay. So we have a web page here, and you can open this on your phone. You can send it to your friend. Like, you've already got a website that's online with your name on it, which is amazing. So here's Alexis. So you can also click this little button right here, open in a new tab, and then like click your browser share button or something. But, you can also use the split screen, which I prefer. It sure is a vibe. Yes, Samantha. So let's add some more content. So H1 stands for heading 1. So that's why it's big and bold. There's a bunch of different headings like H2 and stuff. And then there's P, which means paragraph of text. So you can write something like, I'm a web developer now in there. And then again, you can click run and the page is there. So amazing.
Wait, I had a question.
Go for it.
I'm sorry to disturb. Why do we put the arrow? Is it like quotation marks?
These?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is, these angled brackets are for indicating that you're writing a tag. So if you were to just write, P, something on the page, that's just going to show up as text. And so by using the angled brackets, your computer knows that that is like code that it should interpret versus text that should show up on the page.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. And feel free to jump in anytime. So hundreds of tags. H1,
Hold on, I can't hear anything you're saying. Hold on, let me turn down Zoom.
Can everyone else hear me? Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
can
good.
hear you.
Great. So yeah, if you like go to cnn.com or nytimes.com, like you'll see one big heading. That's the H1 and then paragraphs of text. And this is what's so cool about the web is that everybody on the web uses HTML. Like you can't use anything else. Someone's asking, you can write HTML in Visual Studio. If you're referring to VS Code,
trial version,
which is a super popular code editor, absolutely. You can, yeah, if you have a local code editor and you're used to using that, go for it. I'm using Replit just because people don't have to install anything and that's easier for a workshop. And then asked, how does styling work? So we got a lot of questions here. We are going to get to styling and setting colors and stuff later. So first we're going to focus on getting content on the page, and then second we'll do some styling. And then, yeah, so React. So yes, there are other technologies that you can use to make a website, but fundamentally they are putting HTML on the page. There's like that's all web browsers do. So React is a separate framework that runs inside JavaScript, which is a different language, but it puts HTML on the page. So we're learning HTML and not React because HTML is like the most basic step, and then you can learn how to use React and other stuff on top of that. A navigation bar. We will get to this at the end. We are at step 1. We will get to all these things. So there's H1 and P, and then give some other examples like strong makes text bold. So if you want to just put that around some text, click run, you got something bold. We did it. A adds links. There's a link to how to use that. And then there's a button. So like, here's what a button is, use it to do something. So that is fantastic. So images are super useful. So there's, you can do, so it's uses, the tag is called IMG, short for image. And then you need to give it a source URL where to go to find the image. Gerald, I'll answer your question in a bit. So here is a source image that I'm provided. You can click this button to copy the link. And so then we use an HTML attribute here. So we do space and then the name of the attribute, an equal sign, and then quote marks with a value. So I'll paste that in and then like that. So an image, unlike most tags, is self-closing. So there's no text you can put inside an image. So you don't need, I use VS Code personally because my job uses a lot of TypeScript and it's super well integrated. But yeah, there's a ton of editors out there. So this image you can put on your website. So if you want to go find an image.
Use of p tag in the
Sorry. Okay, I didn't hear that. Kenji, we can get into that at the end. I want to get through some basics first. So if you want to get an image off of Google Images or something, you can just right click on any image on the web, and then you want to get something like copy image address. You don't want to copy image or copy the link. You want to copy image address. And then we'll put this on our page. We do img src and then paste, and then this slash is optional. We put that there, and we've got a huge image of a porcupine. So src is short for source. That's what that is, the image source. Yeah. Got it, Ken. Great. So you can also upload your own image by clicking the upload file here and uploading something from your computer. Otherwise, you can just get something off the web. Images don't have closing tags. Yes, covered that already. So this is what your web page could look like right now. You've got heading, you've got some text, and your image. Someone asked for this. Right. So CSS is the second language of the web. So HTML puts content on the page. It's one programming language. Making the image smaller is our next step. CSS will do styling and layout on the web, and then JavaScript adds functionality to our website. Yes, Michelle, I will definitely provide my. You can email me right there. So CSS is my favorite part. Here, I'm actually gonna quickly locate. Family. Right now. Okay, we're doing great.
Hi.
Yes. So CSS cascading style sheets. We do the styling. So since it's a separate programming language, we put it in a separate file. So you see Replic's already created this HTML file. This is a JavaScript file, which we're not really going to get into today. And then style.css, where we're going to do that. And so the first thing we actually need to do is link from our HTML to our CSS file. And so in our index.html, you can go into the head, and we're going to add a link. So we're going to do link, and then we use an attribute called rel to say that it's a style sheet. It's kind of an archaic word, but still how we do it. And then href is the actual, it's kind of like image source. It's where the link goes to. So we're going to type in style.css, since that's where our styling lives. Nothing's going to change because we don't actually have any CSS, but silently, those are now linked together. How do I memorize all of this? At the beginning, it is definitely a bit overwhelming with just how many things going on. But once you make a bunch of web pages, like it just kind of becomes second nature. So yeah, exactly. The more you do it, the more you'll remember. At the beginning, you Google everything, you look up everything, you look at documentation. There's tons of website tutorials. And honestly, when I made my second website, I just copied all the configuration out of the first and then started changing things. I've linked to a doc that provides all the major tags. I don't think it's included in here, but Stack Overflow is a helpful website. People are not always the friendliest, but there are lots of amazing answers. It's a kind of question and answer site for programmers. And then a doc that provides all of it. Google is your friend. HTML tags list. Machine learning is incredibly complicated. It is. So I can provide a link a little later if you want to get going with that. but we're not covering that today. So I love MDN, Mozilla Developer Network. W3 Schools also has great info. So I'll click on this HTML elements reference. I'll just pop this link in the chat. Yeah, here are so many tags. You want to put an address on a page, there's a tag. If you want to put a caption on an image, here's a tag. If you want to cite something, here's a tag. If you want to put in time or audio or video or a scalable vector graphic, there are so many tags. We don't have time to get into all of them, but yes. Michelle asked, how did I publish my personal website? I use a whole bunch more complicated technologies, including React and Next.js. It's hosted on a website, on a service called Vercel, which I can include a link to, which I love for web hosting. But I'm going to just keep focusing on this basic site because you can get into all that, but I think you first got to understand the basics. So, yeah, we got some more info here. And now we're in the world of CSS. And someone asked how to resize an image. So we're going to do exactly that. So CSS is kind of like super linked to the HTML of the page. So we use this img tag for the image. So I'm going to put in img, don't use the angled brackets in CSS. And then you use these curly braces to declare. So we've got this block where we're saying use style the img with these styles. And so we do like width, colon, and then we can do like 300 pixels. Pixels are a unit of measurement on your screen. And you'll see the image has become that size. So we could change that. It's like, oh, 500. Great. You can even do like 100%. And then when you resize your browser, it always is full width, which is super cool. So there are tons like HTML tags. Gerald asked, if you only give width, it scales the height proportionally. Yes, that's the case. So if you wanted to make your site look bad, you could say like width is 100%, but height is always 100 px. And so then it's going to just like look a variable amount of stretched. Can we crop an image through CSS? You all have a lot of questions. It's amazing. Kind of. It's not super good at that. I would definitely recommend, and you're also then loading like unnecessary data on your page. So I would crop it. Like if you've got a Mac, you can just in preview, you can just like select part of it and do Command K and then re-upload that image. But yeah. Maya asks, how do you position everything in the center? Sure. So we can do that. So if we look at this page, body is a tag that's wrapping everything else. And so we can, the cascading part of cascading style sheets, CSS, means that you can apply styles to like higher up in your kind of tree of HTML nodes, and then they will apply to everything like nested inside, unless you override them at a like more deep level. So we can do text align center on the body. I realize these are a little bit of like secret incantations for the properties you need, but again, you just kind of get used to these as you work longer on the web. So Don asked how you bold developer. I used a strong tag for that. You can also do it with CSS in some circumstances, but a strong tag is the easy way to do it. So yeah, I mean, we've already got this page arriving. So I kind of explained this a little more here. So each property is hyphenated, and then you use a colon, and then it's good form to put a space to kind of separate the two. And then you use the value. We don't put the quote marks, unlike HTML. And then every line of a declaration in CSS ends in a semicolon. So if you don't include the semicolon, you won't be able to put multiple lines. So we can also then do something like color blue, click run, and then all of the text becomes blue. But the awesome part about the cascading is that you can then select just the strong and do color fuchsia and make just this word a different color. So that's the cool part of cascading. Can I go over IDs in CSS? Yes. So if we had multiple, we put another strong tag right here, this will immediately make the, each thing that is strong gets that pink style. But we can use an ID to style just the one thing. So we could say ID equals dev. This is an attribute just like src is. And then in our CSS, we can select that with like, it looks like a hashtag. So we can do hashtag dev and then color, orange. And then even though all of the strongs on the page are pink, the one that has an ID of dev has a more kind of specific rule for color orange. Can I make a certain phrase another color? Yes, you can do that. So you can use IDs exactly in that way. So if you wanted to not make it bold, there's a span tag, which is designed for just like style this piece of text. So we could do span and then put an ID of now on it. You can put any text phrase here and then do now and then do like color red or something like that. So now we've got way too many colors going on. Give me just one. So we've got lots of colors going on. And then can you use a hex or RGB? Absolutely. So there's a way of defining colors on the web that is using these special codes. So there, you can just like Google like hex code editor or something to find out what these are. It's just this collection of letters and numbers. You can see now I've got this specific orange that's not built into HTML. This is just a hex code that I know. So, and then there's also RGB, which lets you define the red, green, and blue of a color. So you can also look up how to use that. It's kind of confusing. And I don't think it's super important to get into the details. We can see I've got this pink. So there's a different way to do colors. I used an ID to select a single element on the page and not all elements of that tag type. And these are people's questions. How to underline? You can do, so we can choose text underline on this, and you'll see now is now underlined. So cool. There are hundreds of CSS properties to do everything from, you could do a background color of black. You can do a, we could select font size and do 100 px and make that huge. Maybe that's a little much, but I don't know. We can change the font family. So there's, Ken, I'll get to your question in a second. So here's like the system font. So just making it look like my computer. This is really, really large. So there's that font. Or you can use a monospace, make it look like code. That's got a cool aesthetic. Glad you like it, Viva. Or, you know, if you're feeling kind of memey, you could do Comic Sans MS in quote marks because it's multi-word. And, you know, this is a vibe. It's a very particular vibe, but go for it. I'm going to keep it simple in your system UI. Samantha is not a fan of my Comic Sans. Okay. So as you can see, like we have just transformed the site. So if I remove it, you know, we're back at this. This is still the same structure, but when you add it, you know, you can do all this stuff. So if you actually look at actually even this web page that I'm looking at. So in your browser, in Safari, you need to enable it in settings. In Chrome and Firefox, it's on by default. But if you right click on something, you can click Inspect Element. And this is just like the superpower of the web. You don't get building like native iPhone or Android apps, which is that you can see the code to any web page that you're on, which is just so cool. And so, if you're on, Apple's homepage and you're really impressed with how they make it look so effortlessly good, you can just right click on something, click Inspect Element, and then you can just see their code. This is what Apple's programmers write all day. And so you can see like, here's this H4 tag with iMac, this H5 that has this subheadline. And then you can even see on the right, you can see all of the CSS that's applying to this element. So you can see they're setting the font size, the line height, the letter spacing, like space between the letters. Just like, they are, get that bank, absolutely. They have a ton of CSS because they want to make a very particular look. And if you think, oh, this is a really nice blue they're using on their website, you can just click these little crosshairs and then click on something. Sometimes you have to open up a whole bunch of, like, in this case, divs. So you can see, here's a P tag. We used a P tag. Look at them. We got an A tag. And then you can just find, oh, that's not what I was looking for. Well, that example didn't work. I'll click the crosshairs. My screen got cut off. Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen share and try again. Always an adventure using a computer, honestly. I think the longer you work on using a computer, the more you realize how bad they are at everything. Okay, and so if you really like this blue button color they're using, you can see they're setting background and then this code for this color. And so I just clicked on it, copy, let's head back. I'm going to change the blue, paste that in. I'm using Apple's blue now. And there's nothing Apple can do to stop you because you can't even copyright a color. So, go ham. So, if you think like, wow, this text looks really good, and, it does, they've got professional designers. You can literally just drag your cursor over this, copy it, come over to your H1. I'm going to actually drop that font family. Now my text looks exactly like Apple's. Incredible. So it's super fun that you can just, you can go to Reddit or the New York Times or just like, literally any website on the internet. You can go to this inspect element that's in your right click menu. And just see. So websites like Facebook or Twitter or Reddit or something they're not hand coding their website. They're having a computer generate the actual code of the page because they've programmed like get these top stories. And then for each top story, put it in a box with this headline and this content. And so you often end up reading this code and it's like, why would anyone write code that looks like this? And the answer is they didn't. They wrote instructions and a computer is auto-generating all of these attributes and stuff. But you can see, like this text on Reddit's homepage is font size 14 pixels and, color and all this stuff. So it's just so cool because, you use an iPhone app and you don't get to actually see what's going on. Like, you just download it and that's all you get. But with the web, it's an open platform and, these standards are entirely open source. No one company controls it. Like everybody owns the web. There's not one owner. It's so cool. So yeah, you can literally just like and paste it. So if I just like click on this, you can right click, copy HTML. I come back to my HTML file. I just paste all that in. And now obviously the styling and the images are all messed up, but like all that content's right there. which is fun. I'm going to undo that because it doesn't look good. Don asks, how can I align an image? So I assume you mean if I make it width 50%, so it's half the width of the screen, it is the text align center is centering it. If I didn't have that, you can do Command/ on your keyboard to comment out code where it doesn't apply anymore. And I run that. You can then do like margin auto to center it. Oh, actually, I think you need display block, which makes it a full, like, it uses the full thing on the page and text can't wrap alongside it. And then margin auto centers something. Centering stuff on the web is a little bit challenging just because there's, depending on all these different kinds of layouts you can have, the way you center stuff is very different. So if you have a specific question, let me know. But that might be how you align an image. How can I make an image a background for text? Wow, we've got so many questions. I really appreciate how enthusiastic everyone is. So yes, you can totally do that. Background image is the property you're looking for. And then you can do, okay, URL and paste in a URL to an image right here. So that would work. If you want to paste that in, I'm going to actually use a gradient. Maybe easier. They work just the same as images. So I'm going to say bottom red to, and if I'm going to comment code, if I run that, oh, my internet connections. We've got this. So that's a background image. You can mask it to text. It's just not sunset vibes. Yes, we do. And you know what we could do is we can make we could do a color. We could do a blanched almond. Let's do it. We could then do a text shadow on top of it. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'll get back to the ocean vibes. What would you consider ocean vibes? Harbor, we will add a navigation bar. Animations, wow, we are so enthusiastic. Okay, we can use current color. This is gonna add a little bit of glow. Maybe let's amp that up. Oh yeah, we can set a background color on the page, absolutely. Here's an Alice blue, that's a light blue. Yeah, okay, we're getting into it. I think I'm gonna bring back the centered text, that looks good. Mask backend, exactly. This is why I do front end design, because I love doing this stuff, and I think building APIs and servers is way less fun. But some people love backend, and they're just like, "Can you make this look pretty?" And I'm like, "Yes, I sure can." So you know, we do our thing, and everybody finds what they enjoy in their careers, and that's the beautiful thing about job specialization brought upon us by the invention of human agriculture. So let's see, it's 9:44. Okay. Front end superiority, absolutely. So I am so glad. Wow, y'all are so into this. Great. Okay, we have gotten very off track of this tutorial, but you know what? That is the beautiful thing about this. Oh, there isn't even anything more. Great. So let's spend like 5 to 10 more minutes designing this. So someone asked for a navigation bar. So we can totally do that. So navigation bars are fundamentally around, and if you want to request things like, how do I do X? Let me know. I will do a navigation bar. Border around the porcupine image border, 5 pixels or however large it is, solid versus like dotted or dashed. So we could also do dashed, because I mean, who doesn't love a good dashed border? Orange, yes, we've got a border. We could do a border radius that rounds it. We could do 10 pixels. Now it's rounded. Let's maybe amp that up a little. How can we use Bootstrap here? Bootstrap is, what is their website? Bootstrap is the most popular HTML and CSS library. It's a CSS that you can apply to your website. Click their Get Started button. They give you a link tag, just like we used, as an href and a rel. And then you can follow exactly their instructions for how to make your website look great with Bootstrap. So they've got, form controls, you want to, sliders and stuff that are pre-styled. Bootstrap's got you. That's how you use Bootstrap. I set a background image for the entire body in CSS, but it's showing us 3 separate pictures. Yes. So that is because of background repeat. So if I go and I'm gonna go to my website, a classic. So you can just jump in and you can see the link to any image. So I'm going to do projects hackclub.jpg. Great, here's an image. So if I, you said you had a background image that's repeating to my website, lachlanjc.com. Someone already linked it in the chat. So you can do that. And then it's going to, by default, if it's scrolling, wow, this page is now unreadable. You want to set the background repeat to no repeat. And then you can set background size to cover. And so that means it'll always like fill the screen and crop. What is my typing speed? I don't know my the exact typing speed, but I've gotten pretty fast because I use a computer all day long. Type eraser S. That sounds fun, but I think people are going to be more interested in the coding. Your website's so put well together. Thank you. I appreciate it. I spent some time on it. Yeah, you can do these little animations. Oh, someone asked how to do an animation. Let's do it. Hell yeah. I'm going to remove this horrible looking background image because it does not work here. Now it won't cover the entire screen. Background size cover. Oh, you might want to set min height 100% on your body. On your body tag so that it always fills the is that working? Sorry, not 100%, 100 VH, which is viewport height units, which means it'll always at least fill the screen, but it'll still scroll. So that's how you're going to fix that issue. Thank you for the website, Lev. Okay. Then, sorry. Oh, animation. That's what we're doing. Will we be getting your demo code? Sure. Happy to send it. Everyone, there's my code. What front-end framework do I use? I don't use anything like Bootstrap. I actually maintain a library called ThemeUI. I would not recommend you use it because it's in React and it's like pretty high level. So I would not recommend actually using that. Bootstrap is definitely a great one. There's also Bulma is a pretty popular. Wow, their website's kind of slow, but it'll show you how to do stuff. Another popular one is Tailwind. Oh, not that. Tailwind CSS, which lets you style. Oh, in JavaScript, I use React with Next.js. I recently did a workshop introducing Next.js at Pride Makers. If you want to search for that on YouTube, or if anyone wants to pop in the link, I did a workshop on how to use Next.js. Tailwind is another popular one, using CSS classes, which are just like IDs. We can provide multiple of them. And so they let you style all kinds of stuff with it. It's very cool. People like it. It's not my favorite personally, but people do their thing. I was animating this image. So one cool thing you can do is img or any tag : hover. And that's like when your mouse is hovering over something, then you can style it differently. So I'm going to do transform scale 1.5. So if I run this, and then I hover over, what's going on here? Oops, it's not loading. It gets way bigger. Hell yeah. We love a good large porcupine. We can even rotate it. I'm going to do -12 degrees. Yeah, whoa. And then we can add a transition to, can we use SCSS? I don't think that's built into Replit by default. If you use a website called codepen.io, they do have that built in. SCSS, for people who haven't heard of it, is a, it's not super popular anymore. It used to be more so. But it's a preprocessor for CSS, lets you like add more, lets you like write CSS that's not supported and it turns it into CSS that is. I'm not going to get into it. Can we use Python in web dev? Not on the front end. So you can't run Python in a browser, but you can run Python on a server and have it generate a web page. So if you're making something like the way Reddit works, you can have the server like make, you know, pull data out of various places and then like generate a bunch of HTML and then serve it to a browser. That's what server-side rendering or a dynamic website is. But you can't use Python in a browser. If there's more than one image in the page, does it go sequential order CSS-wise? Can you clarify your question? Not quite sure what you mean. Transition, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted here, so many questions. So a transition means that if a property changes, you want to animate that. So I'm going to say that I want to animate the transform property because that's the one I'm changing. I want it to take 1 second and I want to ease the transition. So I'm going to click run. Oh yeah. We're looking good, good. We could change the border to a box shadow and then I'll do a 15 pixels. This is X, Y, and blur. We got some orange. And then you know what we can do? This is gonna be so good. We can then make that fuchsia as well. We can then add another transition that's gonna be box shadow. It's gonna take 2 seconds and we're gonna ease it. It didn't work. So classic web dev, someone just asked when there's a problem. So HTML and CSS are designed to not fail. So so if you're using a language like Python or Ruby or Swift, they will error and not let you run a program. It's a problem. And so if you're running like, you know, a huge app that people are relying on their data being safe, that's great because then, you know, if there's a, Gerald, I'll get to your question next. Then if there's a problem with your code, like you can't even start running the app. And so that prevents, you know, like a huge security issue. And so that's great. But HTML and CSS want to prioritize getting your stuff showing up on the page. So if I just write a bunch of garbage on my keyboard here, let's see what happens. Turns out absolutely nothing. So this is super cool. And it's kind of a superpower of HTML and CSS in that your code keeps running. It just ignores the stuff that it can't understand. However, this does mean that you need to, that if there is something going wrong, it can be hard to tell why. For example, why is this failing? I have no idea, honestly. So we can inspect element on our own web page and look at the source of our own site and see what's going wrong. So we can check the hover box and looks like there's a mistake in my code here. So I will try this out. Can I box shadow? I don't even know what the problem is. Okay, now it's working. Maybe I misspelled fuchsia or something. Don, what websites are best for an HTML, CSS, JavaScript reference page? If you mean like documentation on how to do stuff, I super recommend developer.mozilla.org. That's what I mentioned earlier, MDN, if you Google that. And so they have, they will show you how to do everything. These are all great. What text editor do I use to make my own website? I use VS Code. You can just Google VS Code and download it if you want to be able to do stuff locally on your computer instead of using an online editor. It's super popular among web developers. So yeah, these people are famous. So that's what I use. There were multiple questions. How can we chunk a website into different sections? Great question. We can use a VS Code. You can, sorry, I just closed it. You can just Google VS Code. You can use a section tag at class, which is just like an ID. Oh, right, we were going to do a navigation bar. Okay. Okay, this is a great opportunity. So I'm going to do a section with a class about, and then I can do a p tag. I love making websites that inspire people to build a better world. Wow, that is truly a lofty ambition. So then we can go into our CSS and then do classes. So IDs use kind of hashtag syntax. Classes use a dot. So I can do about and then say that that is going to be color. Aquamarine looks kind of putrid. Let's try that. Quick run. Oh yeah, I mean, my God, the color contrast. Can controllers, model classes, routes are considered backend? Yes. So this is cool that I've got this. You can also nest selectors. So you can do about P and then do, you know, font style italic. And now if you put other things in the about section, they won't have the italic, only the P tag. So if we wanted to then put this on a different page, we can click add file. We can do about.html. I would just copy all of this in there. Always easier to start with a copy of something. And then you can put a class right on the body. It's on time. Can we make the picture take us to a different page? We're about to do that. So this doesn't change our site, but we can put a link. So someone asked for a nav bar. A nav bar is just, you know, copy and pasting is coming through. I'm sorry if this is like way too chaotic for everybody. This is just the energy we're on right now. So to link something like this image, you put an A tag. So this stands for anchor, which means link, and then href, just like we used for a link, which is like an internal website link. This is a like user-facing thing they're going to click on link. Then we put where it's going to take you. So we do about.html there. And then I will put a closing tag at the end of the image. Otherwise, everything else on the page is going to get this, be linked. So we want to make sure we've got that closing tag. And if your website's looking, if your website is like working in a really weird way, always check to make sure that you're closing tags that need to be closed, like a link. And so now you'll see your cursor is changing to a kind of pointer. Yes, Riley, that's a great resource. You click on it and we've got a new page, which this is so great. We run a website without the doc type HTML. Kind of, it'll still work, but then in various browsers, various things will go wrong. So I would not recommend it. What does rel style sheet? That means that the link is to a CSS file. Basically, there are other types of things you can link to. like having it, connect to a different domain to then like download a font or something. So rel style sheet is that. FYI, everyone, since I think we're wrapping up momentarily, if you want to find this link in your replit and put it in the chat, in just a moment, we will present these. So you want to kind of polish up whatever you're working on. If you've got a question for me of how you want to add something to your site, let me know. But pop-up box / buttons, that is more difficult. Use JavaScript to do that. But I'm not going to cover JavaScript because it's like so many courses in itself. But you can Google JavaScript alert to see how to do that. Or if you want a little tiny version, you can do on click alert hi in quotes like this. And then you click on it. It's not working. I'm not sure what went wrong. We don't have time to fix that right now, but there's an easy way of doing it. So a nav bar would just be, you could use a nav tag. It doesn't actually show anything on the page. It's just kind of an organizational thing. And then you could do like about, oh no, not that. And then you can make it go to slash and then do home. And then I could copy all of this and put it also on the about page. And then if we look at this, we got these links. And then in our CSS, we could do nav. And then I am going to use something called flexbox, display flex, and then do justify content space around. And that's going to equally kind of distribute stuff. As you add more links, they'll just kind of space out. So then you can click from home to about and back. Oh yeah. How did I learn HTML, CSS, and front end? By the way, we've got like 2-ish minutes left to get those links submitted. Will there be a recording? Riley can answer that. I don't know. How did I learn? I started with Codecademy, which the website still around. They're still doing stuff. Cute. So you can still use that. I don't know how good they are anymore. But I would highly recommend like MDN and stuff for looking at questions. Yeah, I started with Codecademy, and then I found this online community that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. And I just was nice to people and asked them a ton of questions and like told them I was a beginner. I emailed the creator of websites I liked and with like lists of questions, and they were nice enough to write back explaining all kinds of stuff. And mostly I just made like literally thousands of websites. I have made so many websites over the years, and that's the only way that you can actually end up learning how to do this stuff. I linked to a bunch of things I've made here. This was like a hackathon I organized. My hometown, like I made this website. You know, you got some different colors, layouts, things going on. Lisa, everything's red. If you want to send me a REPL link, I can take a look. This is Nushka's. I definitely don't want that website, and we're going to take a look at it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Oh yes, I think I've seen that effect before. But this, changed the name, got some good stuff going on. Oh, the problem with your image here is that you need parentheses. It's kind of weird. I don't know why it's so different than everything else. Yes, minions. Amazing. I don't, oh, blue is the image. Incredible. Doing great. And that's Nushka's website. Folks, send your Replit links in. We will be showing these off like literally wherever you're at, even if you think, oh my God, my website's so embarrassing, I didn't get very far. We want to see it. Everybody is proud of you and they think that your website is cool. So please share your link. The problem here, whose website? This is Lisa's website, is that the body tag is going before all these other things. Sorry, the closing body tag. So you want all the content to be inside, inside the body. So that is going to fix that issue. These divs are not closed, by the way. So those could cause issues later on. And then in your CSS, so we don't use the angle brackets in the CSS. So we can remove body there. I'm going to just move that temporarily. Click run. Yes, you got this. This is exactly the move. So that fixes our CSS. And then we've got this image, div AD introduction. I'm going to move this over. And then I'm going to actually change this. Yes, we got these links rolling in. Submit those, girls. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Class text div. Remove those temporarily. Head goes outside the body. By the way, you can click this auto format button. Replit fix all your indentation. Incredible. Oh, it looks like we've got a syntax error here. Missing a semicolon. Great. Well, we fix this up. Marjorie, sorry. Website. Oh yes, she a coder. We got a cupcake, beautiful work. And again, if you think, oh, this person's website is so cool, what color is that? You can just inspect element, and then you can just click on body and see, oh, burly wood is the color. Never even heard of burly wood. Amazing. So you can then just be like, oh yeah, I want that on my website. You can put it on your website and you can just add to everything. Marianne's website is not working. Marianne, do you want to try that again? Maybe you renamed your website after this. Lisa's website we got. Moet asked, how can we add custom domain? You can Google Replit custom domain. So that's something that your web hosting provider, which in this case is Replit, will give you. And where do they put that? I think they put it in here. Custom domains are, you need to pay to buy a domain, typically. And setting them up is a pain. There's no way around that. As someone who's set up many website domains, it's just not so easy. Where Replit puts their custom domain control, I do not remember, but you can Google it because you can Google everything, and that's the best. And this is Marianne's website. Amazing. Yes. So we've got this GIF. You can put a GIF. And then again, I can just inspect element, and then I can say, using Unsplash, a great source, I could do background size. You can just change the CSS on someone's website, only on your computer. This won't obviously save or everyone would deface everything, but you could do cover, and then the background will always fill the image and so fill the screen instead of repeating. And then if you refresh the page, you get their version, but you can just change stuff and just see how it looks. And so if you go back to like, we got a lot going on here. Oh, sure, on my website. You can just select this thing and then be like, you know, what would this look like if it were yellow? Well, gotta spell it correctly. Now you know. And you can be like, I want mine to be yellow and blue. Go for it. Steal my color. The heading doesn't fill the screen. Yes, by default, the body tag has a margin which adds space around it because the web was originally for these scientific papers and they thought a few pixels of space around the text would be great. Now everybody removes it. You can go to body and then add margin 0, and that'll zero it out. How can we add sound? Absolutely. There's an audio tag. You can look up how to use it. You upload the file, the sound file to your Replit, link that in, you got it. Don asks, how would I link to a different file on a different coding platform in a completely different REPL to this website? Good news. So you know how cool this person's Marianne's website is? Well, you can click that link, and then I can just double click this. Okay, well, anyway, it says full URL right here. I got this. I can go back to my website. Oh, sorry, definitely not that. And then change the link from my CSS to Marianne's. Incredible. So obviously the compatibility breaks a bit depending on how specifically their thing is styled, but yeah, you can just like switch from my CSS to theirs. Super cool. The heading doesn't fill the screen. Fix that. Can we add sound? Yes. What's my site? It is lachlanjc.com, and I will link that right there for you. Can. And there's links to follow me on Twitter, GitHub, or whatever else you want. I'm very active on the Twitter. We do love self-promo. And you know what? As soon as you've made something, you have license to self-promo the heck out of whatever you just made. You're like, I've got a website online. You can send it to your parents. You can send it to your friends. You can put it on your Instagram story. You can tweet it. You can like whatever you want to do. You can just like write it on the wall of your classroom or something. Like, you know, once you've made stuff, like that is the reason to be proud as a human being on this earth, that you have gotten to the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you are making something that you are excited about and you want to share that. And so you can just be so proud of what you've made and you can tell everybody. Yes, Ken. Yay, I'm so glad you got such a great experience, and I'll please let me know. There's an email button if you want to email me. Valuable experience gained, Viva. Thank you. I'm so happy for you. Like even on this website, like it's your own space on the internet and there are no rules. So you get to just like, I wanted to make my pronouns change color when you hover over them and just rotate, and you can do that. And we're not constrained to like, oh, you know, Twitter only lets you put text and 4 images. Like you get to just do whatever you want because it's yours. Like, that's what's so exciting about the web. And I mean, if you're like developing an iOS app, like Apple can say like, no, we don't want this on the App Store, but on the web, you can do whatever you want. You know, ends up sometimes going wrong. Fun and exciting. Then in university, incredible. Well, you know what? I am a huge believer in self-learning. Here I link to a whole bunch of like cool people's websites. You can just go to them and be like, oh my God, wait, this is gradient text. Whoa, let's inspect element. How'd they do this? The answer is they're really cool and really a professional, and you should follow them. And they're using background clip. You can just copy that onto your own website and be like, huh, that looks cool. Then you come back and go to my H1. I've copied Apple CSS. I've copied Melody CSS. Oh, that looks so cool. Let me comment that out. Boom, you got the gradient inside the text. So we just copied that off Melody's site. We love the Pinterest aesthetic. We absolutely do. Show link to a simple page. Absolutely, Antonietta, pop it in, share it, let's go. Melody's using an HTML tag called yeet, which they invented because, you know, no one can stop Melody. Don, do you want to share the link to that? When I took the link and opened it up in a new tab, the nav was missing. Oh yeah, so the problem is probably that you need to copy the nav between all the pages. Nothing is shared between your HTML files by default. So you want to copy this and paste it there. If you update a link in any of them, you need to update it in all of them. And that's why, you know, like a blog or something will use a site generator that like you're not custom coding all the HTML, because computers can keep track of all that stuff. Oh, I'm not sure what the problem is other than that done. Sorry, there are so many links here, I don't see it. Okay, we click this, the nav doesn't show up. This is looking great. So we can see how, oh, this is this is different website. Yeah, border radius 3%, width 30%. Look at all this cool stuff. People doing such cool things here. Put your own image in a website. I mentioned this briefly earlier. You can click upload file, and then you take, yeah, here's a thing, and then I can change. Oh, sorry, I just uploaded this is not my website. Replit lets you collaborate. You can upload. This is also not my website. I need to keep my. Here's a website I have for work. I'll do image src browser because that's the name. You can just rename it in there. I'll go to the about, and now I've got that image that I uploaded. So that's how you upload stuff. Oh, okay. Well, I think that we've gone way over time already. So that is enough enthusiasm for websites in one night. But I mean, y'all, you got websites on. I mean, you just spent like 40 minutes of your day, and you've already gone from like never having coded anything to having a website on the internet. That is so cool, and no one can take that away from you because you made something, and making things is just the ultimate joy in my life. So, so glad you enjoyed it, Samantha. Yes, you can go to my website, you can email me, you can tweet me, whatever. This is gonna be on YouTube. Great. Thank you all for coming. I am so glad you all enjoyed it. Sometimes I teach and nobody says anything. You're all just like very quiet. And you all just like came out and yes. And so, you know, you can just be whoever you want on the internet. So.
Thank you, Lachlan. That was really amazing. Judging by the chat, everyone loved that. And I think all of us today could have walked away with something new, whether like you're experiencing web dev or not. So thank you.
Amazing. Discord, you know, I have recently started using Discord. I don't know how the cool people refer to themselves on Discord because it's not the username thing. I don't know. Is there a Discord for Citro Hacks I can join? And people can find me via that?
Oh yeah. Let me pull up the link for the Discord server.
Okay. Riley will connect me to the Discord and you can message me through there as well. Useful links for coding. CSStricks.com is a super cool blog that covers just like new stuff that's happening on the web. You can read about various techniques. They've got so much documentation. I already mentioned MDN. And then I'm also a big fan of CodePen.io or for just like a really quick prototype. Replit's also great. They do crazy cool things. And yeah, I mean, Twitter's where all the like cool web developers hang out. So I definitely recommend getting on Twitter if you want to like do this professionally. Yes, I will join this Discord. You will see me in there. You can message me. Happy to help. Best of luck with your hackathon project. Hackathons are the best thing ever. And yes, you can take the website that you started here and turn that into your submission. Because, oh no. Wait, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'll get there. Great. Sorry, so distracted. This is amazing. Thank you all for coming. Good night. Best of luck. Oh, and I'll just put my email address one more time in case, and then you'll find me in the Discord. Bye, friends.
All right, so that was pretty fun. Hope you guys liked that. And we ran a bit over time, so if you guys are interested in participating in the game night, you just sent out the Twitch stream and I think the links in the Discord, so yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna end this meeting and then I'll upload the recording soon. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye.